Hey you all, welcome to Screen University. Today I'm going to discuss a topic that is slightly different from my previous videos. So many times you might have felt that you want to write a story but you do not know how to proceed. So today we are going to answer this essential question of how to write your first short story. So how exactly do you write a story? What do you need to write a story? Obviously, you need a pen and paper, or a keyboard and a computer and a laptop or whatever. But before you even get to that point, what you need is desire and motivation. You actually need to be wanting to write a story to actually write a story. The world is full of people with desire and no action plan, right? So if everybody's desires directly came true without any hard work or any effort, then the world would have been a different place. And also there's a book inside me syndrome. So many years ago, I went to a short film shoot with a friend, and there I met someone. It was a woman who told me that as soon as I told her that I have written a book, my first book came out in 2010. So as soon as I told her that I'm a writer and I've written a book, it's a collection of short stories, she immediately told me that there's a book inside me. I don't know when it will come out. So many times you meet people who say that they have uh, a story inside them. They want to tell that story. There is a need to actually vent that feeling out. Okay. So where do you actually start? So that's the first question that we are going to answer. Now, to write a story, what you need is inspiration. The story has to be based on something, right? It could be about a peculiar person you met somewhere, or a personal incident that you experienced, or or an incident or some event that you witnessed from close quarters, or something that you heard from somewhere. And the best one is actually your own imagination. It didn't really happen, but it's there in your mind. Now, where does imagination come from? Okay, that's a gift. So you can't really create imagination. You just have to learn to cultivate that habit. And if you look at Oscar awards, there are two categories for screenwriting. One is the best adapted screenplay, one is the best original screenplay. Adapted screenplay is for screenplay written, uh, screenplays that are based on other books. Original screenplay is for content that is actually original, that's come from somebody's direct mind directly. So imagination is the best way to write because it gives you full creative freedom. You can do whatever we want with your thoughts. And that is actually the best way of going about it because there is no better feeling in this world than writing something really original. So once you've decided to write about something, okay, a dream that you had, okay, it's best to write something from your own dream or your own thoughts because that gives you a lot of scope for improvisation. Because if it's somebody else's material, there your scope is limited. And then what happens next? Let's say you thought of something, and what happens next? What are the prerequisites? What do you need before you actually start writing? Do you really need good language skills? Is it mandatory or optional? In my opinion, it is optional. You do not need good language skills when you start writing, but there is a commitment that is necessary from your side that you can improve over a period of time and you can put in some hard work, then it's not a problem at all. But if you want to stick to your own level of English language and say that this is I know only this much, I'm going to write only this much, then not that's not a very good idea because at some point people are going to ignore your writing because you don't seem to improve in any way. So when started writing blogs, more than the comments, there used to be some very good comments on the blog, but then again on the messenger or something, people would send me that there's a spelling mistake here in this paragraph. There is a grammatical mistake here and there. So yeah, I came from a pretty ordinary school, and although there was nothing really great about my English until I started writing, it took a lot of effort later on to actually get to the point where your book gets published and gets some kind of accolades. So everybody makes mistakes, irrespective of your background, whether you're from Telugu medium, Hindi medium, no matter what. If you have the commitment to improve your language skills, you should not worry about language too much and you should go ahead with your writing. Now, what are the three elements of a story? Let's say you thought of something. Now, technically, if you look at any story, It has three basic elements. Without these three elements, you cannot write a story. First is the protagonist. Who is a protagonist? Protagonist is someone about whom the story is. And this protagonist, let's say if you're talking about in normal terms, it's a hero of your film, of your short story. Then the second element is called an objective. What is an objective? This protagonist or the hero that you have needs to have an objective or a goal. And the third element is the conflict. What is a conflict? You have a hero, your hero has a goal, but there is something that is stopping him from achieving that goal. That part is called conflict. So these three elements are actually the three legs of a story. The fourth leg is your imagination. Any story you have ever heard or film you have ever watched will fit into this framework. All right. I will get into more detail on that. So there are three elements: the protagonist, the objective of that protagonist, and the conflict. That means the obstacle that is stopping him from achieving that objective. So who is actually a protagonist? It is basically the hero of your story. So when do you introduce him? Do you see hero introduced being introduced at the end of a film? No, right? So the same way, it is your important duty to introduce your protagonist immediately. And you have to describe your protagonist because I think Bill Maher or Stephen Colbert once said that this generation is so engrossed in watching TV and watching movies that they've almost given up on the art of reading. And then he jokingly said that a book is actually like a film which you can direct in your head. When you read about a guy called Tom who is 36 years old and who is wearing a jeans and a white shirt, you actually, your mind starts to imagine what is happening there. So that is how you need to introduce your protagonist. You need to tell the audience who this person is, who who this person is, what does he wear, what are his physical features, is he short, is he tall, is he strong, is he well built, is he lean, and what are his tastes, what are his likes and what are his dislikes, what is his kind, what kind of personality does he have. So this part of introducing your protagonist has to happen in the very first few parts of the short story. That's a very essential part, otherwise people will get lost. Okay. And there are some stories, uh, there are some movies where they take some time to actually introduce the protagonist. Like they want to give the setting first, like there is a jungle and then there are trees and there is a river and there is a hut, but inside the hut there is a man living there and he is the protagonist. Okay, you take some time to introduce the setting and the location and all, that is fine, but the protagonist has to be introduced as soon as possible, because that's where the that's who the story is about, that's who the story is actually revolving around, and hence that's a very important aspect of the entire story writing process. Second is the objective. Think of your favorite movies. The hero wants to achieve something, right? He wants to maybe marry a girl, or he wants to kill a villain who killed his family, or he wants to get a dream job and is working hard towards it. So basically any movie that you watch, any story that you read, any novel that you have, any mythological story, any warrior, any hero, any protagonist will have a goal. They want to do something, otherwise there is no story. All right. There is absolutely no story without an objective. So you have a protagonist and you have a goal for that protagonist. Okay, think of any movie, okay, any successful movie like Sholay, Lagan, Dangal, Chak De India, Airlift. Everyone has an objective. In Sholay, they want to kill Gabbar Singh. In Lagan, they want to win the cricket match and pay less tax. In Dangal, he wants to train his daughters and make them, world champions. In Chak De, they want to, Shah Rukh Khan is looking for regaining his past glory, and his job is to make the women's hockey team win that, championship. And Airlift, the goal is to bring as many people, everyone possible, back to India to escape from the war. So, as you can clearly see, an objective is the essence of a story. There is a hero, there is a protagonist, there is a character who wants to do something. Okay. And the third part is a conflict. Conflict is anything that stops your protagonist from achieving that objective. All right. In Telugu movies, there is this concept called cinema kashtalu. That means if anybody is suffering from some kind of problems, you say that this guy has cinema kashtalu. That means he has cinema type problems. So how do you bring in conflict to your protagonist? So create problems for your protagonist. All right, don't make that goal achieving process very easy. Now imagine if in Sholay, Gabbar Singh and Thakur became friends near the interval time. So what will Jay and Viru do? There is nothing left to write about, right? There is nothing, there's no movie left. You understand? If Gabbar Singh comes and apologizes to Thakur in the 53rd minute, what is the point of having a Sholay movie? Having the Sholay movie. So the idea here is to bring about a conflict and bring it in such a way that it creates maximum emotional impact. All right. So what you need to do is create a lot of problems for your protagonist. You go create family problems, Telugu cinema type. Okay. Then you can create Hindi problem, 80s, 70s Hindi movie types. Or you can create mental problems, 2000s type, like anger management problems like Arjun Reddy and all that. And then you can create financial problems, which are the world's favorite problem. Everybody has a financial problem, even no matter how rich you are. And love problem is the world's easiest problem to have. All right. So there are so many types of problems you can have, and it is important to bring about the impact of these problems, to show the impact of these problems on your character. All right. If your family, if the hero's family is in debt, three elder sisters are to be married, and the another brother is a drunkard, one more is in jail, and so many problems they used to show in earlier movies. That's the reason why movies are so famous, because so popular, because they just catch your emotion. It captures your imagination. It captures your, that emotional chord is struck. So to bring a conflict, you need to bring in pain. Pain to your protagonist. Your hero should suffer. Only then the audience will enjoy. All right. So now that you have the three elements in place, you have a hero, you have a protagonist. That means you have a protagonist, then you have the objective, and you have the conflict. So what do you do next? All right. You need to make your protagonist solve his problems. So solving problems should not be easy. All right, it's not like there are 25 villains in front of him and he just gives one punch and everybody dies. No, that's not going to solve the problem. Solve your, that's not a good way of writing, because it does not carry any emotional impact at all. Let your protagonist solve his problems, but only after a very, very, very strong fight. All right. Create a lot of tension. Make the problems very, very hard. Make your protagonist work really, really hard. All right. You know why movies flop? Because they don't show any struggle. Movies flop because people think, अरे ये क्या इतना easy हो गया, इतना easy ऐसे क्या, हम क्या चूतिए क्या इधर. So you have to convince the audience. To convince the audience, the amount of pain you put in, the amount of pressure your protagonist comes under is a very critical factor. All right. You have to make him or her suffer. All right. And let your protagonist lose in between. Make him helpless. He has to give up at some point, and then you can twist and turn and later bring him back to life. All right. You have to show that there is absolutely no hope until there is that like 0.001% hope. Only then there is a there is some emotional weight attached to your story, and that's when the story becomes an interesting one. And after that big fight and all, okay, remember Jo Jeeta Wahi Sikandar? I've talked about this film before, or Dangal, and then so many other films. The win comes after a very, very big fight. All right. And in Airlift there is that asshole kind of a guy who is sabotaging Akshay Kumar's efforts from your own side. That means sometimes the factors that are disturbing to the protagonist are not always external, they can be internal also. You understand? So this kind of pressure your protagonist has to come under, then he has to fight all those things and then still yet become victorious. Only then your climax will sound good. Yeah, so that's what we were talking about right now. After protagonist suffers and works hard, it's time for showdown. All right, and that emotional payoff has to be there. That's what your audience, wants. Imagine Lagan, where British win and Amir Khan has to pay the double the tax. It's a very stupid situation, right? So the win at the end has to be very, 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 very big. All right, it can happen if you make the suffering big. That's what I just spoke about in the earlier slide as well. So to carry forward this entire process, what do you need? So these are the final steps. Start writing, and because your memory will fail you, you are not an expert. You are a normal human being like everyone else. Do not have overconfidence on your memory. Any and every idea that you get, please make a note of it. Keep a small diary, a pen or a paper with you, and a pen paper with you. Diary or a paper and a pen with you, and note down every idea that you get, and leave some room for the readers to imagine. Don't describe everything, okay? Just as I would say, don't spoon feed. And you and see, I told you about Stephen Colbert talking about a book being a movie that you direct in your head, right? If you are writing about a character called Raju, and there are 100 people reading your story, at least 65 to 70% of them should have the same person in their mind. That kind of uniformity is very, very important, but the details you have to let them imagine on themselves. All right, it is one thing to narrate, it is another thing to write. Wherever necessary, you should narrate. You need details. For example, you are writing one very specific sci-fi scene where specifics are very, very important. If you're writing a romantic scene, you don't have to worry too much, because you can leave the imagination to the reader. So don't basically don't spoon feed anything, but give some basic direction in which the reader has to think. All right, and logic is a very, very strong aspect of your writing. Otherwise, after the movie ends, if the audience, while after reading your short story or after reading the script written by you, if the audience thinks that अरे hero, if he had done this, he would have avoided that and this would have been easy, क्या चूतिया काटा सब में last में. So if that kind of logic you have to think for. All right, and these kind of logical flaws will arise when conflicts are not easy to design. For example, there is a very popular story about Sholay, right? In Sholay, there's a very famous scene where they climb on the water tank, and Dharmendra, there is a drunk scene. But before that, they show there is no power at all in the village. So how did the water go in the tank if there is no power and there are no motors? So there are these kind of things you need to actually take care of. That's why I said conflicts are not easy to design. It is very important to think through every possible situation logically, and building logic is the most difficult part of a story. So some amount of intelligence is required. You see, that's why I said writing is a different kind of an art. You will never see a dumb person writing a story, okay? He, they will have some kind of imagination. They may be ideologically slanted towards any other side, but they basic trait of a writer is that they are intelligent. Okay, it is very important to build in some very good logic into those situations. And let me tell you this: how actually let me just describe this by telling you a small story. Let's say once there was a little boy who lived across the jungle alone with his grandmother, and on the other side of the jungle was his school. So every day he had to cross the jungle, and there are a pack of wolves roaming in the jungle, and uh, get they would get caught. So they would so the boy is always in danger of getting mauled by the wolves. So what does the boy do? He designs a logical path, and then he crosses the jungle in a certain way, goes around certain trees, because of which he is able to reach the school properly. But then the audience will ask, why didn't he go to another school? Is there no school bus? Why is he living on the other side of the jungle? He should have moved to a place close to the school. And rather, in these days, they will also start asking, why are there no e-learning classes? Why can't he attend online and things like that? So solid logic has to be built into every aspect of your story, every scene of your story, and only then this whole process makes a lot of sense. And about the climax, emotional payoff, I already spoke about this most important aspect of an ending. And the other important thing is to tie all the loose ends. Don't forget about the side character that you introduced in the beginning, or the friend of the protagonist, or the protagonist's mother, or any other question that you want to remain. See, for example, there is a short story where a box keeps falling from the shelf, and it's kind of a mystery. All right, but the story is about the person living inside that house, and it's basically his love story or something. But the box keeps falling even after he gets married to the love of his life. So that means you have left the box falling question, unanswered till the end. So don't do that. That's a very big minus, and you have to tie all the loose ends. Think again and again as to what questions you people might ask after reading your story, and answer all those questions. Either it's best to introduce those answers as into the natural flow, and not as a specific addressal of the problem. So tie all the loose ends. Basic idea is that, and a very good ending is like making up for slow run rate in the last overs. Your previous flaws are all ignored. So if you, the ending has to give you an emotional high. All right, the ending has to give you an emotional peak at the when you come out of theater. People should feel numb, and they should feel goosebumps. They should cry, or something should happen to them emotionally. They should not be looking at the watch or what time it is. They should not even feel the change in weather, because inside it's AC, it's cold, and if it's summer, it's very hot outside. Audience should not even feel that something has changed. It is true for a cinema movie script. It is true even for a short story. Yeah, I have read some short stories by Frederick Forsyth and Khushwant Singh, which still, when I go to sleep, I still imagine them. The description, the way they ended, the emotional experience that they gave me are unforgettable. So you should try to achieve that. So what you need is a very, very good ending. Don't just have a lazy ending. I know a few of the recent movies that I saw had very, very lazy ending. I don't want to name anyone because this might reach them. So a writer gets lazy toward the end. It is a fact. It is a known fact. I myself have experienced this. Do not get lazy to finish your story. Make sure you tie all the loose ends. There has to be very, very heavy emotional payoff. Only then the whole process of writing your story is complete. Okay. And the last point is that story is written only once, but it lives many lives. Okay, so inside the reader's minds, you might write the story only once, but the reader, if the reader likes it, people read that story many, 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 many times. There's a novel, there's a collection of short stories called No Comebacks by Frederick Forsyth. So the first chapter of that book, first short story in that book is called No Comebacks. It's named after the book is named after that story. You will find that uh, I actually read that story first time when I was like 15 years old, 14 or 15 years old. In 10th class, I was in 10th class. And even now, I keep reading that story, time and again, just to feel that, emotional punch at the end of it. So you have to do a good job of writing the story once. If you do it well once, it will have a life of its own. Okay, once it is done, it's like creating a life. It will live forever. All right, so these are the things I think are the other tips that you should always keep in mind in the entire story writing process. Always keep a pen and paper handy, or a diary handy. All good writers are good readers, so read a lot of authors. If you are like new to reading, have never read, you can start with anyone basic. And my ideal suggestion would be to go with the 19th century authors or early 20th century authors. Read some Sherlock Holmes stories by Arthur Conan Doyle, and then read some poetry by Edgar Allan Poe. See how they imagined things. So that's like it takes you back to now. The writing has become very, very fancy now. There is no difference between the language they use on social media and the language they use in books. So it's better if you pick some earlier writings and start reading. Look at how they are framing sentences. Look at how they are structuring their stories, how they are introducing characters, how what emotional load they are carrying throughout the story. Those things you will learn only from the classics. I'm not saying modern writers are bad, but it is, if you are a beginner, it is better to read some very basic books first, the fundamentals first, and then you can graduate to some other newer writings. And always remember that no flaw is permanent. You can always improve. If you are in a position where you have the confidence that you will improve, you are have the commitment to improve, then don't worry about it at all. Sentence formation is the greatest art known to mankind. It is not easy to master, and there is no such thing as mastering it. You are in a perpetual state of improvement. All right, and always use a dictionary and thesaurus. Don't get overconfident with vocabulary, because nobody is an expert, and there is always that small thing that will keep pricking you if you ignore checking a dictionary or a thesaurus. Don't give room for that feeling. You know what happens generally, writers, when they are very they are in a hurry, okay, when they lose patience, they just ignore some of the basic things, and then I have found some very blaring, very glaring mistakes. See, even now I'm making a mistake. I wanted to say glaring, but I said blaring. So glaring mistakes have appeared in some very famous writers material materials. So use a dictionary, thesaurus, have faith in yourself, but always verify. And don't be ashamed to Google for the right usage. Just like coding, we still Google for syntax or inbuilt functions, right? It's just like that. Do not worry about anything. Keep Googling, keep learning, and read your story many times before actually publishing or submitting, or putting it on a blog. If it does not satisfy you, you can take it for granted that it will not satisfy anyone else. All right. So any story, okay, many people say that you have to write for yourself. True, you write for yourself, but that doesn't mean that you don't write for others. Okay, my story will satisfy me, but it doesn't. And if that's not the end of it, there are readers, right? So you have to satisfy them also. Okay. Otherwise, all arts would have ended in the bathroom in front of the mirror. So you basically do everything for yourself and others, but the point here is that it has to satisfy you first, not and only then it will satisfy others. Okay, so keep writing and remember those three elements that I told you about. First is the protagonist, second is the objective of that protagonist, third is the conflict. Take any film, take any story, this is the structure. If you follow the structure, your story will never fail. Okay, people may say that this is like routine and all, but fair enough. How you bring about variation in that routine is up to you, but the magic will happen if you apply this template. Any story, this is a template. All right. So there are questions in terms of emotional problems, and those you have to answer in the end. To whom? To this person who is your protagonist. Okay. If you follow these basic rules, your short story will be a super hit. All right. So thank you very much. So that's about it. If you have any questions on writing stories or character development or any other questions that you have, you can write to me at screenuniversity@gmail.com. Thank you, and please subscribe and like and share this channel. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.